gosh, guys, it's the Golden Amethyst Warden. It has a 0.0.
What the frick?
The heck?
0.001% chance of spawning.
That's literally not a real thing.
These are the funniest fake Minecraft speedruns of all time. This
Huh, interesting.
first speedrun begins, but there's already something fake about it. No, it's not his game mode, as we can clearly see he's in survival. And it's
Apparently, or adventure mode, but I think survival is it.
also not his spawn, as the runner is facing completely straight. But take a closer look into the bottom corner of the screen, where we can clearly see the faintest message
That's hilarious. Oh my god.
of a player changing their game mode to survival. This means that the speedrunner was in creative before he started recording, which will make
Oh my god, people are so stupid.
more sense very soon. So the run begins with the speedrunner collecting some stone, crafting a few tools, and making their way to a nearby village. And while the village itself is completely normal, the speedrunner actually just cheated. Because let's
Oh?
rewind the footage to before the runner started searching for the village.
I'm kinda curious now.
If you look closely, you'll actually notice these
What the? Okay, what is that? I didn't
Yeah,
know
that's
that.
cheating.
What the hell?
strange white formations in the sky. And if we play the footage, notice how the speedrunner has been following them all the way to the village.
That's actually insane. What the hell?
It's pretty obvious the
Yeah.
speedrunner built these formations to lead himself to the village, hoping we would think they were clouds. So the
Ridiculous. Hey guys, before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. It would help the channel out very much. Thank you.
runner enters the village, and thankfully, things appear to be completely normal. As the runner starts off by collecting a handful of beds, and when killing the iron golem, he gets a normal amount of ingots. But
Okay, yeah, that's fine.
things start to get suspicious when the runner enters this village
What?
house. Because while the loot in this chest is completely normal, the chest itself is completely fake. Because let's rewind the footage and take a very close look at the specific village house he's in. This is an armor house. The problem is, chests only spawn in this type of village house in a snowy biome,
Oh my god, what the? Things you never think about.
which the runner clearly is not in. This means the runner placed this chest himself off camera, likely to get more iron so he could craft flint and steel. So the
I think this guy's an idiot.
runner finishes gathering
Yeah.
his loot before beginning to search for a nearby ruins portal. And giving him the benefit of the doubt, he locates one pretty normally. But after looting the ruins portal chest, he ends up being just one block short of completing the portal. Well, the runner decides to pull out his iron pickaxe, breaks the ruin portal chest, which reveals a ladder all the way down to another ruins portal.
That's so stupid.
It is already
Yeah.
fully completed. I have no idea what just happened. So, the
That is so stupid. Is anybody really falling
Yeah.
for this? Maybe some people, but most people are just know what's going on.
runner enters the second ruins portal room, lights the portal, and makes his way into the nether. And giving him the benefit of the doubt, his spawn is completely normal, and the runner begins to search for a nearby fortress. And the
Huh.
speedrunner quickly locates one, but there's just one slight issue. This fortress is located on the opposite side of this ginormous lava pool, and without any ender pearls or enough blocks in his inventory, it's pretty much impossible for the runner to get there. Well, the
Yeah, that's interesting.
speedrunner pulls out a couple eggs from his inventory he collected earlier in the run, and randomly throws one in the direction of the fortress. Okay, this
What?
guy must be bored. I have no idea why he's doing this. Oh my gosh!
No way. What the hell was that?
What?
He just used an egg as an ender pearl and teleported into the fortress. I don't even
That is so dumb.
want to question it.
Yeah.
So the runner enters the fortress and, like a normal speedrunner would, begins to search for a blaze spawner. But even though there is no blaze spawner at the end of this hallway, the speedrunner still decides to run towards it, which is
I wonder why.
extremely weird, as this is
Yeah.
wasting incredibly valuable time in the speedrun. Well, the runner runs towards the end of the hallway before phasing through the wall, and
That is what in the world?
he's greeted with a blaze spawner
Well.
directly in his face. This guy is actually insane.
insanely stupid.
So, after literally teleporting through a wall, the runner begins to fight the blazes at the blaze spawner. And after about a minute, the runner collects 7 blaze rods, the standard amount a speedrunner needs to continue the run. But let's rewind the footage and take a closer look because the speedrunner actually just cheated. Because for the first blaze, the runner kills it and collects 1 rod. Legit. For the second blaze, the runner also kills it and gets another rod. Nothing wrong yet. But when fighting the third blaze, the runner actually collects 2 rods.
Okay, no blaze drops 2 rods. That's stupid.
Which is literally impossible, as blazes can only drop a max of 1 rod per blaze. It's pretty obvious the runner messed with the game files and hoped we wouldn't notice him get an extra rod from this blaze. So, after collecting all the rods that he needs, a normal speedrunner would then begin to search for a
I think all these are imitated.
bastion. But this speedrunner seems to have a slightly different plan, because the runner digs a couple blocks down before randomly starting to tunnel underground. And after only 10 seconds of digging, the runner breaks the block above him and he's magically in a
Okay, that is not real.
bastion. But hold on, rewind the
I mean, I guess we already knew that.
footage to when the runner is digging underground. In this part of the clip, you can actually see that the pickaxe magically regained all its durability, which
That makes no sense.
reveals there is a cut in the video to hide that the speedrunner likely went off camera, located the bastion, and pretended to dig up to it. So, the runner
Do people really do this shit?
enters the bastion and starts looking for gold blocks to craft golden ingots and trade with piglins. And the runner manages to locate a vein of gold blocks pretty quickly. The problem is, it's literally impossible for gold blocks to spawn naturally in this part of the bastion. Meaning, the runner simply placed them here in creative mode to give himself an advantage.
Yeah, this player is dumber than a box of hammers.
So, after mining the gold blocks and crafting all the gold ingots
I guess a box of nails in this case.
that he needs, the runner finds a group of nearby piglins and begins to trade with them. And in the beginning, things are completely normal, as
Let me guess, the trades are off now?
all the items he's collecting are standard items from a piglin trade. But let's watch this part of the footage very closely. Did you catch that? The runner clearly hit
That's actually true.
one of the piglins, but none of them attacked him back. This is only possible if the runner is in peaceful mode, something clearly not allowed during
Yeah, something told me that was a bit weird that they didn't attack him after they hit him.
the speedrun. Well, if we rewind the footage and take a closer look at this frame, we can see the faintest message of the player switching his difficulty to peaceful. So, after
Jesus Christ, this guy is so bad at hiding his frickin' fake speedrun. Unless he's doing this on purpose or for rage bait or some shit. That's all I can think of.
After a couple more trades with the piglins, the runner collects his ender pearls and needs to head back to the overworld. The only problem is, the runner only has 9 blocks of obsidian, which would make him just 1 block short of completing the portal. Well, the runner still starts to craft a nether portal and decides to use a hay bale as the final block in the portal.
Okay, that's ridiculous.
Okay, this guy has to be joking. This clearly isn't gonna work. Oh my gosh, the portal lighted.
Lighted that's not a word. It's lit.
Just gonna be honest, I have no idea how that just worked. So, after entering a portal with
I don't even know at this point.
a hay bale in it, the runner
That doesn't make any sense. So how do you light up another portal with hay bales?
spawns back into the overworld. And right off the bat, the speedrunner cheats again, as we can clearly see the command of a player giving himself speed that he forgot
He's definitely not trying to hide this anymore.
to cut out. Either way, the runner starts throwing his eyes of ender, and using triangulation, locates the position of the strongholds. But as he's digging down from the surface, something incredibly suspicious happens. Because there's a clear cut in the video at this part of the footage, as his eyes of ender jump from 8 pearls to 10 pearls. And when the runner finally enters the stronghold and locates the end's portal room, he of course now has the exact amount of pearls needed to complete the portal.
This person has to be like brain dead or something for us to for him to actually be thinking that we'd be convinced of all this shit.
It's pretty obvious. The runner cut the video, went off camera to see how many pearls he would need for the portal, and pretended that nothing happened. So the runner completes the portal, jumps in, and enters into the end, where thankfully things appear pretty normal at first, with the dragon still having full health and the runner spawning in a completely normal location. But
Okay.
as the runner is innocently running on the surface, out from the sky drops a bow with
What the? What?
What? That did not happen.
That is so stupid.
literally every single enchantment in
I
the
think
game.
someone's in
And
there
without
with him.
So what?
I think someone's in there with him doing this.
Yeah, like, bro, that just doesn't happen. Like
Yeah.
bro's so stupid. Like, if he actually thinks that we think that this is legit, he's actually kind of stupid. Not gonna lie.
Yeah.
breaking
Actually, more than kind of, but you know.
any of the crystals, the runner pulls out his bow and literally two-shots the ender dragon. This next speedrun begins, but there's already something fake about it, because take a very close look
Oh my.
Yep.
into the top right corner of the screen, where you can see a sign with the singular letter D on it. Not only was this clearly placed by the runner in creative mode, but remember it for later, as it will become very important. Either
Ooh, I wonder how.
way, besides this strange sign, the
I think this is the last speedrun we're gonna react to, and then we will continue this in another video.
rest of his spawn is pretty normal. He's in survival mode, he's selecting the first slot of his inventory, and he's facing completely straight. But when the runner enters a nearby village, things start to get a little strange. No, it's not in this hay that the speedrunner gathers, as it's obviously legit. And it's not even in the chest that the speedrunner loots, as all the items here are pretty standard. But it actually has to do with this village's iron golem. Because let's just say, it's not a normal iron golem. So,
Okay,
after
what is that? That's
That looks like a.
No, it's a boss. I was gonna say obsidian golem, but it looks more like a basalt golem.
Yeah.
My goodness.
after seeing the obsidian golem,
Oh no, it wasn't obsidian golem. Huh?
the runner starts to attack it in hopes of getting some loot. And what do you know? The obsidian golem drops obsidian for the speedrunner. That's actually kind of cool. So, after collecting obsidian
Cool if it was legit.
from the obsidian golem, the runner begins to look for a nearby ruins portal. The issue is, even after looting the chest, the runner doesn't have any flint and steel to light the nether portal. So, in true speedrunner fashion, the speedrunner decides to cut his footage. Where at
Jeez.
this part of the clip, you can actually see that this squid completely jumps forward in time. And when the runner goes
God, this person's also stupid. All these speedrunners must be stupid or something.
to check his inventory, he magically finds a flint and steel ready for him to use. When literally seconds before, he clearly didn't have this anywhere in his inventory. These speedrunners never learn. So, the
Seriously.
speedrunner lights the portal, enters it, and starts teleporting into the nether.
The only thing I can think of is rage bait.
But before he does that, take a very close look into the corner of the screen, where you can actually see this strange
What in the world?
Looks like an eye.
It is an eye. What the hell?
sand structure that clearly makes out the shape of an eye. Remember this
D-I. I wonder what it's gonna spell. I'm not gonna say anything.
letter, along with the letter D we saw earlier in the run. So the runner enters the nether, and with a pretty legitimate spawn, starts his search for a nearby bastion. But the speedrunner does something incredibly suspicious during his search. Because at this part of the footage, notice how the speedrunner has suddenly acquired a fire resistance potion in his
That is... What?
inventory,
Okay.
when just
He's
seconds
definitely cheating.
I'm guessing all these fake speedruns they cheat, but it's kind of funny.
earlier, we
I'm just
clearly
thinking
saw this
someone's
exact
in there with him, giving him these items.
Remember, these are different people, so...
same
Yeah, I know,
slot
but
had
still.
hay. Well, if
What? Okay.
you take a closer look at this piglin, you'll actually notice that it jumped forward in time. And
Oh my god. Why don't these people learn?
like just a few seconds ago, this means the speedrunner once again cut the footage, where the speedrunner likely went off camera, got the fire resistance potion, as he knew it would be important later in the run. So the speedrunner enters the bastion and starts searching for gold blocks to collect ingots to trade with piglins. But watch very closely to how many gold blocks the runner mines, which we can clearly see is 4. However, when the runner opens his inventory, it appears as though
Why? Why do people do this?
he has 7 blocks of gold, which is nearly
Like, bro, do these people not know how to do a legit run or some shit? I mean, if you don't do that, if you don't know how to do a legit run, then why even try?
Double the 4 we saw him mine. Well, let's
I guess to make people laugh or rage or some shit, I don't know.
rewind the footage and take a closer look at this part of the speedrun. I'll play the clip. If you
God help me.
Oh my god.
couldn't tell, the speedrunner actually stands on a pressure plate while mining the golds, which
Sly bastard.
then causes 3 gold blocks to fall from the sky into his inventory. And at this frame, you can actually see the exact drop where these gold blocks are coming from. It's pretty obvious the runner set up this contraption to get more gold, increasing his odds of getting enough loot from the piglin trades. So, with all this gold, the runner locates a nearby group of piglins and starts to trade with them. And he actually gets some pretty lucky trades, collecting 12 ender pearls rather quickly. But he ends up only having 5 blocks of obsidian in his inventory, which will become very important later in the run. So,
Interesting.
after collecting his pearls, a normal speedrunner would then make their way to a fortress to collect blaze rods. But this speedrunner has a slightly unusual method of locating a fortress, because instead of searching for one by scanning for entities, the runner instead places down a crafting table and crafts a waystone.
Oh my god. Oh my
Really?
god.
Is this a real Minecraft item? Well, the runner
No.
It's a modded item, not Minecraft item.
places down
Yeah.
the waystone, and after clicking it, teleports directly into the fortress. I'm not even gonna question it. So the runner enters the fortress, where they begin to look for a blaze spawn, but on his way, take a very close look at this wall. Do you remember when we saw 2 letters earlier in the run, D and I? Well, there's actually
R.
another sign on this wall with the letter R. Strange, but remember it along with the other 2 letters, as they will be very important later. So the runner locates the blaze spawner, and immediately something suspicious happens. If you look closely into the very corner of the spawner, you can actually see there's already a handful of blaze rods on the floor. And while the runner is pretending to fight the blazes, he walks backwards and picks up all of these rods. And you can literally see the amount of blaze
What is wrong with you people?
rods in his inventory jump up. So, after killing a few more blazes, the runner has 7 rods total and needs to think about heading back to the overworld. But like
Yeah, totally not cheating, by the way. Jeez.
I mentioned earlier, he only has 5 total blocks of obsidian, so how is he supposed to build a portal and travel to the overworld? Well, the runner places down a crafting table and crafts a paintbrush? Is this a real
The heck?
Okay.
A paintbrush?
That is so stupid.
Minecraft item? Well, the speedrunner takes the paintbrush, runs to a random wall in the nether, and starts painting out the design of a nether portal. Okay, this clearly won't work. There is no way a drawn nether portal
I'm sure there's a mod that can make it work.
actually works.
Yeah.
That's actually the craziest thing I've ever seen. So, after literally painting an entire nether portal, the runner makes his way back to the overworld, where thankfully, things start to become normal again. As the
Yeah.
runner crafts himself some eyes of ender,
Yeah, for now it's normal.
and using the technique known as triangulation, starts to search for the location of the strongholds. But
Still normal, but that's bound to change anytime now.
in the process of looking for the
Oh,
strongholds,
yeah.
the runner comes across a fully built ruins portal. And for
What
some
the hell?
odd reason, the
That's
runner
just
decides to light it
insane.
and travel to the nether. This may seem very bizarre considering he has all the materials he needs from the nether, but this will make more sense in a few seconds. So,
Yeah, I want to see this.
the runner enters the portal and seems to be looking for something very specific in the nether. And during this weird searching process, we actually see one final letter in
Dirt? Dirt? Why?
Dude.
the wall, which appears to make the shape of a T. Remember these 4 letters, as they'll be
Yeah, dirt. Why?
Yeah,
extremely
dude.
important very soon. So, after searching in the nether for quite some time, the runner comes across something absolutely insane. Is that a stronghold in the nether?
Okay, what the hell?
What am I even looking
Yeah, I know,
at?
right?
Well, the runner enters the stronghold in the nether and actually finds the end portal room, which explains why he decided to enter the ruins portal a few minutes ago. So the runner pulls out his eyes of ender, lights the portal, and makes his way into the end. And thankfully, when the speedrunner spawns in, everything is completely legit. The runner is still in survival mode, the dragon is still at full health, and he doesn't have any weird items in his inventory. But
Except for the paintbrush.
But as the speedrunner makes
Oh, he already used it.
his way to the surface, do you remember the 4 strange letters we saw throughout the speedrun? We first saw the letter D right when the speedrunner
It obviously spells dirt.
spawned in. We then saw the shape of the letter I in this weird sand structure. Next, we saw the letter R on a sign in the fortress. And finally, we saw the letter T in the nether. And when you put these 4 letters together, you spell out dirt. So when the runner goes to the surface, you know he's looking for one specific block. And after finding the dirt block, the runner breaks
You know, this is a creative way of doing a speedrun. Just put Easter eggs in your videos. That's fun.
it, revealing a chest with some of the most overpowered items in all of Minecraft.
What a way to do a fake speedrun. I gotta say, this tops all of the ones I've seen.
And I'm not gonna lie, that's incredibly creative.
Yeah, that's what I said. It's very creative, not gonna lie. I know this is a fake speedrun and it's not technically legit. Well, it isn't legit, but it's still very creative, and I like that.
So, after collecting literally every single OP item in the game, the runner easily breaks the crystals and waits for the dragon to perch. But right as the speedrunner is about to kill the ender dragon, his game freezes, and he isn't able to complete the speedrun. This next speedrun begins with the run.
What? That was the ending? Are you kidding me?
Wow.
Oh, jeez, what the hell?
Well, he never completed the speedrun, which is good because he's a cheater.
Yeah, but he still was very creative with his speedrun. I mean, look, he literally put Easter eggs in the goddamn speedrun, which I would have never thought of doing, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would have never thought of doing that myself until I saw that. Well, either way, that's it for us for now, y'all. If you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to like, be sure to enjoy making it, filming it.
Yes, you did, Violet.
So yeah, remember to stay awesome. Remember, I am the best.
Peace.
Alright, bye for now.